Rebecca Undum, and you are watching Rebecca Undum Live. The weekly used to be just Facebook show. I'm actually for the first time going live with my buddies on Instagram too. I added that occasionally changing things up from a technology standpoint, trying something new can be super daunting. I've got no tech people, right? Like it's just me. So I'm super happy to be here with you guys, and good morning to my Instagram friends this morning. So we're going to see how this rolls. Up until now, I have only done this live stream on Facebook. So we'll see how it goes. So it's kind of tricky for me. Like I've got my camera here, so my Facebook friends are here, and my Instagram friends are here. So hey, good morning. And we'll see how it goes. The one thing I know is like if I'm ever live on location, I'm not probably going to drag two devices along. So I don't know how I'm going to do all of this, but this is like trying something new, right? We got to give it a shot. So we got Annie. Hey girl, good morning. And Flo on this morning, and love that. Got some buddies waving at me. Hi guys on Instagram. So much fun. Good morning, Carly. Yeah, we'll see. I'm like, all the technology, like I'm sure a lot of you guys, any of you, especially that are building businesses, technology can be, I think, one of the hardest things to stay up with, and just like, where do I need to be and how do I need to do this? And I get myself completely overwhelmed just with the details, like trying to figure all of it out. And at the same time, it's like, sometimes you just got to throw caution to the wind and try. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today. We're throwing caution to the wind. So we'll see how it goes. Okay. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. Throw an emoji down. Tell me what your weekend was like. Mine was awesome. So we had a middle child that turned 7 on Friday. So gosh, down in Aberdeen, South Dakota. For those of you that have never been, I think most of us around here are pretty familiar with Storybook Land. But I actually took some videos, and I may post them. I might share them on my Instagram story, because I'm like, I forget that that place is so flipping cool, and so many people don't know about it. Like it really tends to be kind of a local thing. Anyway, we went down there, and then yesterday I ended up feeling sick again. So it was maybe 6 weeks ago, I had strep. I got strep, and it like came out of nowhere and just completely knocked me on my ass. It was terrible. And I feel like it's coming on again. So I've been like doing all I don't know if you guys have any good remedies for me to like get ahead of it. So my naturopath here in Oaks, she sells this product called Virapel, and it's like this nasty little liquid that you put in water and drink it. And I've been drinking that like crazy. I've like doubled my probiotic. I feel it in my throat. And I just was like super achy yesterday. I didn't even go to church yesterday. And I don't skip church most of the time. So anyway, this is just a fully drugged version of me. So that's the only reason I'm even here live. Otherwise, I'd probably still be in bed. If you guys have ideas for me, hit me up. I need to know. Okay, so let's get into the topic here. I'm so excited to wrap up this whole discussion about change. So through the month of August, we've been talking about the 4-step process to making changes that stick. So this is really the reason. And again, it's funny. Sometimes I get these topics in my mind, like we should talk about this. And I'm like, there's nothing sexy about this topic whatsoever. Seriously, it's not sexy, but sex isn't what you're not going to, come to Rebecca Undum for sex. There are other people, lots of other people you guys could hang with if that's what you're after. But I try to look at things from the standpoint of like, what do I know most of the women that I'm working with or talking to every day? What are they struggling with? And I swear, so the framework of this that I've shared from my personal vantage point is 2 different changes that I made. And this is what the process looked like for me. One was in getting healthier, not losing weight specifically, but getting healthier. And the second was becoming a keynote speaker. Like, how did I make the shift from being a trainer to a speaker? So the reason I chose this process is because every woman that I know, it seems like we're all trying to make these big, important changes in our lives. And it doesn't just happen. There is a process. Even if you weren't aware of these 4 steps before, everything you've ever achieved, these 4 steps were part of the deal. Is like the hiccups or the challenges that you're going to face when you're in that stage, and then also the emotions you're going to feel. Like that's the thing we never talk about, right? We're just like, make a goal, crush your goal, you can do it. We never talk about like the ups and the downs and how hard it might be and how shitty you might feel at different points along the way. And I try always to come at everything with just, again, like loads of grace for yourself, because we're super good at being easy on other people. We're terrible at going easy on ourselves. So here's the process. I wrote the whole thing out this time. So here you go, Instagram, so you guys can see it. So what we talked about the first week of August was this first step, which is getting your head straight. So it's all about like choosing the thing that you want to change for the right reasons. And the right reasons basically just are things that are important to you, not doing it because someone told you you should or because someone made you feel like you should, right? It's all about making sure that the motivation comes from within, because if you don't really care, you're not going to make changes that stick. Okay, number 2 is getting knowledge, finding a source of information that you can get behind. So this is what's tricky about health and weight loss and fitness, is that there are 10 million bajillion schools of thought on what you could do here. And we talked a lot about how it's so important to say, is this going to work for me? And can I sustain this? Not like, oh, great, it's a new program and I'm going to get on board, right? Number 3, this was this last week's topic last Monday. We talked about just getting to work. A lot of times people, we get stuck right here. So we get stuck making the transition from 2 to 3. And this becomes analysis paralysis, is what we talked about. Like, oh, I'm just going to get a little more information. I'm not quite ready to jump. I'm not quite ready to do it. And so at some point you got to say, screw it. I have enough information. I need to act. I need to put some of it into action. And today, step 4 is all about getting feedback. Okay. Getting feedback. So you put some stuff into action. You ask the right people for some input, and then it becomes an actual habit, habitual to you. Okay. So here's some of the hiccups that we find at this stage. 2 of them really. Number 1 is that we don't know who to ask for support. Oftentimes we look, and then the second thing is connected to that. We end up asking the wrong people. Like, we look at our family, we look at our friends, and the thing about family and friends, and like, God love you, right? I have a great support system with my family. But a lot of people, like, okay, from a business standpoint, let's just talk about deciding to become a speaker. The problem with asking just close friends and family and not somebody that has walked the path that you want to achieve, the problem is that they put their own projection on it, right? So like, nobody gets what I want to be. Nobody gets really what I want to do. Like in my immediate family, they're like, I don't get it. I don't know why she likes that. So their feedback is always going to be tainted with that perspective, because that's what people do, right? So the problem is when we go, okay, friends, family, what do you think I should do? Oh, hey, by the way, I don't know why Facebook makes me do this now, but I have to scroll to see your comments. So I'm just seeing them now. Annie, thank you for noticing the change up on my bookshelves. It was super noisy before. It was like, so all of these books, well, you can't even see those up there. They were all down. It was all books, just books. So I actually went through and, don't criticize or like stone me for this, you guys, but I actually went through and I donated more than half of the books on my bookshelves. And then obviously I used the real estate behind me to showcase the fact that I wrote a book, and there it is, right? So Annie, thank you. And again, I don't know why I have to scroll suddenly, so I'm sorry, you guys. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Tiff. And Jesse's here and Christy's here. Oh gosh, I love you guys. I was judging state fair stuff this weekend. Awesome. And Tiff said, you hope I feel better. Thanks, Tiff. Me too, because it sucks. It sucks to feel crappy. Okay, so I'm going to try to stay more on top of that. Sorry, now I've got like you guys going on and this going on. Like it's, stressful. It's okay though. Hi, everybody on Facebook and Instagram. Donating to others is great. Yes, it is. I don't know what the context of that is there, friend, but if you could add more to that comment so I can understand what you're thinking of, that'd be cool. Okay, so back to the hiccups. We ask the wrong people for support. And then we immediately step back into this place of doubt where we start doubting what we should be doing. And again, I got to make this so it's visible to you guys on Instagram, but this is where, so the thing with this process as we're looking at this, you guys, now that we, so these 4 steps, I would love to say, oh, it's just 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and done, lickety split, like it's easy. Oh, thank you. Yes, I donated my books. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I didn't understand. I was like, what is she talking about donating? Yeah. Yes, it's hard for me to let go of books. I don't know if anybody else has that feeling because I really truly just love books. But so many of them, you guys, I was holding on to things from like other parts of my life. Like when I was a professional in banking, or I was, I had all these books, and honestly, it just felt noisy behind me. So I really went through and I was very particular. I only kept the books that, that really speak to my heart and that still have a place in my life. And if I don't, if I haven't referenced a book in 15 years, like I can probably part with it. Yeah, it looks like I'm drinking wine. Yes, it does. It is, it's a Corksicle cup, Angie. So it just has coffee in it. But if you guys want to imagine that it's wine, I'm down with that. You did a live this morning about taking care of yourself as a mom and woman first. So yes, you can give to others. Absolutely. So the women that I know and work with, I don't feel like I need to beat you over the head with, here's what you guys have to do. Like, do this, do this, do this. And that whole shoulding on you. that doesn't resonate with my heart. And it's more about seeing this as a process that is fluent. And so at any moment when you falter, you go, okay, if you really want to make a change about something, and I would say your health is such an easy one because so many of us are on a journey in that respect. At any point you can say, okay, what part of the process am I in, and why am I having this struggle? And then maybe it's backing up to the step before. And, at least once you know this, at any point you can kind of lift yourself out of where you might be struggling. And that's the reason we keep talking about this. That's why it's a process, and that's why it makes sense. Okay. All right. So coming back to getting feedback, asking your family and your friends isn't always the best idea, because especially if they've never struggled with what you're struggling with, or of success in the thing that you're trying to accomplish, right? And so here are the feelings that we might have. And again, the emotions are important because they always serve a purpose. We like to pretend that they don't and they're just meaningless and silly, but feelings always have a purpose. So the first is just the doubt of like, am I doing this right? So in step 3, I got all this knowledge. Well, now, am I sure that this is how I'm supposed to be doing it, right? The second is loneliness. Like, I wish I had someone to talk to about this. So I can tell you guys that my health journey, I shared that I've joined this program called The Faster Way to Fat Loss. I've been in it for over a year now, and they have an accountability group, okay? Right away, the accountability group for me felt heavy, like more work than I wanted to take on. I just felt like I don't want an extra place where I have to check in and add my thoughts and support other people. Like, I just don't have the bandwidth for it. But what I realized is that this group, what it really was a place where I could say, hey, this is what I did. These are the results that have slowed. This is what's working. This is what's not working. Do you guys have any suggestions? There are people that are using the program, and the creators and coaches of the program, that it alleviated that lonely feeling. Cause like, I'm not a person that's going to get on here and be like, so I'm trying to lose weight and here's what I'm doing. I'm not a health coach. Like, that's not how I'm showing up for the world. So if it makes sense, even if you're achieving some level of success, it can be super lonely because you don't have anybody to talk to about it. The next, I'm going to skip 3 and come to 4. Defeat. Okay. It's so common in this stage of the process. I keep coming back to my papers. This stage of the process right here, where you put something into work, like you've gotten a plan, you know why you're doing it, you're rock solid on like the internal reasons why you want to change something, and the results don't come. If the results don't come as quickly as you want them to, or you're just not seeing what you were hoping, it can be so easy to say, screw it, and just give up trying, or assume that the program that you've done isn't right for you. All sorts of things. And that's why then it comes back to the beginning, like, why am I doing this? Have I tweaked this? Can I, in step 2, where we talk about getting knowledge or getting actual information about what to do next, that's why we talk about starting so small. So maybe you bit off more than you can chew. Come back to step 2 and dial it back a little bit and say, what's one small thing I can do and sustain, right? And then the third is, if you do have somebody that you are using for a feedback loop, and we need a feedback loop, you guys. This isn't something you can do in isolation. Nobody really makes like long-term successful changes in total isolation, okay? The thing that we might feel in this step of the process is defensiveness. So if you have even somebody, you've identified the right person to ask, like it's not your sister and it's not your mom, and they tell you you could try this differently or you could do this differently, that internal feeling of defensiveness can rear its head, where you go, oh yeah, who the hell do you think you are? And you get all pissy about it, right? So I want to talk for just a minute about being coachable. And I've done a whole Facebook Live on how important it is to be coachable. But I want to reiterate these because it fits so perfectly into this. So for me, I told you with my health, I have a coach. I have a group of people, a coach. I can go to them and say, what should I try? And I take their advice, right? Where my defensiveness came in was when I hired my speaking coach to move from training to speaking. I thought, like, I'm a shoo-in for this. Like, this is going to be easy. You guys, there's freaking nothing easy about it. The first time we recorded a keynote that I delivered, and she watched it and gave me feedback. There were so many times that I was like, who the hell do you think you are? And I felt ridiculed or criticized when that's not her role. Like, and this is where we've got to separate. The first thing we got to do, being coachable. I had to learn how to be coachable, and I'm still not always coachable. I try, but I have such an ego. Okay, so that's the very first thing. We have to check our ego. If somebody is telling us something because they have the right to, as in fact they've earned the right. They're smarter than us in terms of this thing. They're further down the path than we are. We should be able to take their advice without getting defensive. But the first thing we have to do is check our ego. My speaking coach, she always used to say that ego stood for edging God out. Like, if you are trying to control situations so much because you think you're smarter than everybody else, including your creator, that it's not going to work for you, right? So the first thing is to check your ego. The second is to listen with an open heart. And this is a lot harder than it sounds too, because a lot of times we get hung up in the delivery. Like, if the person comes off and they're maybe a little harsher than they could be, or they don't deliver it with enough, grace and kindness, we tend to just say, like, throw the baby out with the bathwater, like all of it's bad. We're really, because number 3, and this is really the last little bit on coachability, damn egos, right, Annie? Oh my gosh, it's tough. It's really tough. And number 3 is just to remember that little bit of defensiveness that you're feeling, it's likely because there is a kernel of truth and you know it, right? In your gut, you know it. You know that there's something striking a nerve with you, and that's why you're getting defensive about it, okay? And then really the last thing is there's a few phrases that we really need to try to avoid when we're making changes, whatever the changes are. And the first is, I know. I already know that, okay? Even now, I'll still say that because sometimes my coach has to remind me of things that technically I do know, but if I knew them, I would already be doing them. She wouldn't need to be coming back to me and telling me again. Like, for example, I have one of the things that I tend to do, because I'm very conversational from a stage, instead of saying he said or he replied, I would say, and he goes and I go, and then I went and then he went. And using not proper grammar is one of the things that I do because I try to stay really conversational. So I know that it's a coaching thing we've talked about, she's touched on, but the fact that I'm still doing it doesn't mean I actually have internalized it, right? So it's her right to keep bringing it up. So I already know that. Check yourself against that. The second thing is I've already tried that. Oh, I've already tried that. And then the third is, well, that's not going to work. Okay. These are the things that it's a mark of our defensiveness, right? When we immediately say, we shut down the advice, like, it's not going to work for me, I already tried that. Sometimes we need to come back because we're different people now. Does that make sense? Like, you think about, so health, this is where health is like really important, because, maybe there was a time you tried to completely cut out carbs, let's say, and it's like 5 years ago. Well, now you're 5 years older, your hormones have changed, especially for women, like so many things change. We should revisit old topics or old strategies now that we're further down the road or we've changed or developed. You guys, I just want to say, like, when I think about trying to make changes in my small town, these are the things that when I hear them, every like hair on my neck, everything I prickle from head to toe when people go, Yeah, well, that's not going to work. So we recognize that negative attitude or that pushback against change pretty readily in other people. What we need to do with this is make sure that we're not treating ourselves with that level of pushback and resistance, and that we stay open-minded. So the fourth step of this process is all about asking for help. And that's really the key to overcoming those challenges, is finding somebody, finding a mentor, finding a coach. If you don't want to pay for them, join some group. But recognize that you probably aren't going to make the changes you want to make all by your lonesome. Like, it's a really difficult thing to do. So even though sometimes like accountability doesn't sound all that fun, it's not about accountability only. It's also about getting a feedback. It's a feedback loop so that you know that you're putting into practice the right things. Because we always say practice makes perfect. Well, practice makes permanent. We can actually practice the wrong things. And then what becomes permanent are not the best habits, right? So I encourage you guys, I would love to hear from you too. Like, if you're in the middle of some sort of a change and you're thinking about this process and you're thinking about where you're at, I would love to hear from you, because that's what this is all about. This isn't just me saying it worked for me, so do it. But this is a process. Anything that you've ever tried to change, no matter what it is, you went through this process, whether you fully recognized it or not. Okay? So here ends the month of change on Rebecca Undum Live. And I just want to say that, again, I love that you guys come and hang out with me every single Monday. And I'm going to put a quick plug in for the next thing that we can hang out and do together. It's on Wednesday. If you get my emails, if you're an email subscriber, you'll see that one of the things I struggle with the most in my small town is that sometimes I get a little whiny, right? I look around and I think, oh, I don't have this and I don't have that. And it'd be so much cooler if I did. And what I'm trying to do is change that mindset from feeling sad and sorry for myself that I don't have certain things to being really more open to, how do I bring it here? Like, if I want it, I can't be the only one who wants it. And even if I am, screw it. It's my life. I need to be more of a designer of my life instead of just like along for the ride. So one of the things I miss the most about living in a larger town is meeting my girlfriends on a patio somewhere for happy hour. It's like legit. We don't have an outdoor patio that's public anywhere. We don't in my small town. I mean, I have a patio, but it's really not the same because it's my home, which you can do that. You can make it work. But I decided for all the women that follow and hang out with me here that are spread out all over the country, because talking about people in small towns, we're going to do virtual happy hour. And so I will post the link and share the image out on Instagram so you guys can see that. I'll post the link here on Facebook. Would love for you guys to join us. So it's going to be Wednesday night, 5:30. You grab a drink, you hop on Zoom with me, and we're just going to shoot the shit. And I know that maybe you're like, I don't need more friends. If you don't, cool. That's cool. I don't necessarily know that I need more friends, but I miss that just easy socializing that doesn't come so easily in a small town. And also, we're going to be virtual, so that means no babysitters. If your kids are running around in the background, so be it. It's not going to be any louder than a real bar, right? So I would love to have you guys. All I'll say is this: as you guys are going through this process of change, and also hop over into the Groove Seekers community. If you guys are not there yet, that's where you can share just about anything that you're struggling with in there. And our job and our role is to buoy you. And that was my big vision. All I wanted was to create a space where women felt really, truly supported and seen and heard, honored, loved, respected, all of that. So I'll drop the links to both of those at the end here. And I would love to hear what it is that you're struggling with if you're trying to make a change of your own right now, okay? And join us for happy hour. It's going to be super fun, okay? All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have an amazing, amazing week. As always, groove on, friends. And we'll see y'all soon, okay? Toodles.